You're listening to the N2K Space Network.
And now a word from our sponsor, SpyCloud. Identity is the new battleground, and attackers are exploiting stolen identities to infiltrate your organization. Traditional defenses can't keep up. SpyCloud's holistic identity threat protection helps security teams uncover and automatically remediate hidden exposures across your users, from breaches, malware, and phishing to neutralize identity-based threats like account takeover, fraud, and ransomware. Don't let invisible threats compromise your business. Get your free corporate darknet exposure report at spycloud.com/cyberwire and see what attackers already know. That's spycloud.com/cyberwire.
Today is May 14th, 2025. I'm Maria Varmazes, and this is T-Minus.
T-minus 20 seconds to LOS Petrus. Go for deploy. Roger roll.
BARDA's W3 capsule has returned to Earth, landing at the Kuniba test range in South Australia.
4.
Black Sky has signed Gen 3 early access agreements with multiple international defense sector customers for space-based monitoring capabilities.
3.
Ramon Space has been selected by Eutelsat to provide onboard digital communication channelizers for the expansion of its OneWeb constellation.
2.
ICEYE has signed a €200 million agreement to produce 3 SAR satellites for the Polish armed forces.
1.
SpaceForge has raised $29.8 million in a Series A funding round led by the NATO Innovation Fund. Happy Wednesday, everybody. We're going to be talking about space nukes and electric propulsion later in today's show, but first, we're kicking off today's Intel briefing with investment news from British ISAM company SpaceForge. They have raised £22.6 million, and that is about $29.8 million in a Series A funding round led by the NATO Innovation Fund. We should add that this is the largest Series A secured by a UK space tech company. SpaceForge is working to manufacture materials that are impossible to produce on Earth, and they say their advancements have wide-reaching applications in semiconductors, quantum computing, clean energy, and defense technologies. The new capital will be used to accelerate the development of SpaceForge's ForgeStar 2, which is the company's next-generation returnable manufacturing satellite, while supporting the company's first in-orbit demonstration mission, ForgeStar 1, which is set to launch this summer. Joshua Western, CEO and co-founder of SpaceForge, said in the press release that we're accelerating our mission to make space a practical and accessible platform for industrial-scale manufacturing. Our upcoming launches will prove that the future of materials innovation lies beyond Earth, helping us build a more secure, sustainable, and technologically advanced world. And we spoke to Josh at the Space Symposium last month, where he explained to us that the company has already positioned itself to produce semiconductors on Earth.
What we've been doing at SpaceForge is we really focused in on the materials manufacturing. So one of the things I'm really pleased to update your listeners on is we now have a pilot line semiconductor capability in the UK. So we are already producing semiconductors for customers right here on Earth. What's really important is the people that we're working with today are buying them because they want to work with the ones that we bring back from space. And that's really critical for us. And that then allowed us to also keep the money coming in to start the development of our upcoming missions as well. So we were in the position where in a couple of years ago, we had 1 mission launching. This year, we've got 3.
Moving on to our next story now. ICEYE has signed a contract to produce 3 SAR satellites for the Polish armed forces. The synthetic aperture radar company signed the agreement with the Ministry of National Defense of the Republic of Poland to deliver an initial batch of 3 ICEYE SAR satellites, with an option to purchase 3 more satellites and additional ground segment capabilities within the next 12 months. ICEYE will also partner with local industry to provide the Polish armed forces with a mobile intelligence, surveillance, and reconnaissance platform that provides near real-time tasking, data downloads, and analysis. The total value of the agreement is approximately 200 million euros. Ramon Space has been selected by Eutelsat to provide onboard digital communication channelizers for the expansion of its OneWeb constellation. Ramon Space will initially supply 70 flight sets of its digital communication channelizer systems over the coming months. These will upgrade Eutelsat OneWeb's existing analog channelizers, which are expected to be integrated into the satellites and launched starting at the end of 2026. The contract also provides the optionality for additional systems. BlackSky has signed Gen 3 early access agreements with multiple international defense sector customers for space-based monitoring capabilities. BlackSky says the new customers will now be able to integrate very high-resolution 35-centimeter imagery into daily intelligence operations, reducing the speed of analyses and opening a new expansive set of mission solutions. These initial contracts are designed to scale in size and volume as the company increases available Gen 3 capacity over time. Varda Space Industries' W3 capsule has returned to Earth, landing at the Kuniva test range in South Australia. W3 launched just 15 days after the re-entry of the company's second mission, which also landed in Australia on February 27th. The capsule carried an advanced navigation system payload called an Inertial Measurement Unit, developed by the U.S. Air Force and Innovative Scientific Solutions Incorporated. The payload was tested at re-entry speeds it was designed to withstand but has never encountered before. The W3 spacecraft was supported by a Rocket Lab-developed Pioneer satellite and has already been recovered by Varda. And speaking of Australia, N2K senior producer Alice Carruth has more on other space activities going on down under this week. Alice?
Yes, Maria. Gilmour Space is due to launch their Eris spacecraft from Australia this week. It'll be the first orbital launch from Australia in nearly 50 years. The launch window opens no earlier than May the 15th. Subject to weather and other conditions, the window will be active between 7:30 a.m. to 5:30 p.m. local time.
So that is quite soon then. Anything else that we're keeping an eye on?
Eutelsat and Cubic have been conducting satellite connectivity tests that could bring some big implications on future satellite connectivity. You can read all about that along with the original sources on all the other stories mentioned throughout the show by following the links in the selected reading section of our show notes.
And a reminder, those links can also be found on our website, space.n2k.com. Hey T- crew, if you find this podcast useful, please do us a favor and share a 5-star rating and short review in your favorite podcast app. It'll help other space professionals like you to find the show and join the T- crew. Thank you. We really appreciate it. We'll be right back.
Hey everybody, Dave here. I've talked about Delete Me before, and I'm still using it because it still works. It's been a few months now, and I'm just as impressed today as I was when I signed up. Delete Me keeps finding and removing my personal information from data broker sites, and they keep me updated with detailed reports, so I know exactly what's been taken down. I'm genuinely relieved knowing my privacy isn't something I have to worry about every day. The Delete Me team handles everything. It's the set it and forget it peace of mind. And it's not just for individuals. Delete Me also offers solutions for businesses, helping companies protect their employees' personal information and reduce exposure to social engineering and phishing threats. And right now, our listeners get a special deal, 20% off your Delete Me plan. Just go to joindeleteme.com/N2K and use promo code N2K at checkout. That's joindeleteme.com/N2K, code N2K. And now, a word from our sponsor, ThreatLocker. Keeping your system secure shouldn't mean constantly reacting to threats. ThreatLocker helps you take a different approach by giving you full control over what software can run in your environment. If it's not approved, it doesn't run. Simple as that. It's a way to stop ransomware and other attacks before they start, without adding extra complexity to your day. See how ThreatLocker can help you lock down your environment at www.threatlocker.com.
Welcome back. Maneuver without regret. Is that the promise of a clumsy surgeon? The motto of a slalom skier carrying a priceless Ming vase? Sorry to potentially disappoint, but the phrase maneuver without regret is actually the goal behind a new nuclear propulsion initiative backed by the U.S. Space Force. The Space Power and Propulsion for Agility, Responsiveness, and Resilience, or SPAR Institute, is teaming up with Space Nuclear Power Corporation, aka Space Nukes, to develop a second-generation fission reactor for spacecraft. Their plan is to pair a compact nuclear reactor with electric propulsion to create a system known as nuclear electric propulsion, or NEP. And we've covered this now and then on the show before, but to refresh your memory, this kind of setup is far more efficient than chemical rockets, as estimates say that it is up to 25 times more efficient. So that would make an NEP ideal propulsion both for deep space missions and for dodging threats in orbit without worrying about fuel limits. As for the company itself, Space Nukes, well, they do bring serious cred to the table. They are the only U.S. company to have designed, built, and tested a new reactor concept in the last half-century with their kilopower demo back in 2018. The new reactor that Space Nukes and the U.S. Space Force are working on with the University of Michigan will quite literally crank up the heat. It's kind of how this thing generally works. Higher reactor and radiator temperatures mean lighter and more compact systems, which translates to more agile spacecraft that are harder to spot and hopefully easier to launch. And oh yeah, it will maneuver without regret, of course, meaning a nuclear-powered space vehicle that can pivot on a dime and maybe even stay one step ahead of any incoming trouble. That's it for T-Minus for May 14th, 2025, brought to you by N2K Cyberwire. For additional resources from today's report, check out our show notes at space.n2k.com. We'd love to know what you think of this podcast. You can email us at space@n2k.com or submit the survey in the show notes. Your feedback ensures we deliver the information that keeps you a step ahead in the rapidly changing space industry. N2K Strategic Workforce Intelligence optimizes the value of your biggest investment, your people. We make you smarter about your team while making your team smarter. N2K's senior producer is Alice Carruth. Our producer is Liz Stokes. We're mixed by Elliot Peltzman and Trey Hester, with original music by Elliot Peltzman. Our executive producer is Jennifer Iben. Peter Kilpie is our publisher, and I am your host, Maria Varmazes. Thanks for listening. We'll see you tomorrow.
T-Minus.
What's the common denominator in security incidents? Escalations and lateral movement. When a privileged account is compromised, attackers can seize control of critical assets. With bad directory hygiene and years of technical debt, identity attack paths are easy targets for threat actors to exploit, but hard for defenders to detect. This poses risk in Active Directory, Entra ID, and hybrid configurations. Identity leaders are reducing such risks with attack path management. You can learn how attack path management is connecting identity and security teams while reducing risk with Bloodhound Enterprise, powered by SpecterOps. Head to specterops.io today to learn more. SpecterOps, see your attack paths the way adversaries do.